Well, okay, because one of the questions I was going to ask you is like, why? I mean, just the simple one of like, why are you afraid of eternity?
Says it's never going to get boring, and I'm like, am I going to be able to play Skate 4? Like I don't, it's like I like.
So, heaven is definitely full of Skate 4 setups for sure. That's
I
absolutely what
hope
they're
so.
doing up there. Positively.
Yeah.
Hi, what's your name?
My name is Malachi.
Malachi. What's up, Malachi? How's life?
Dude, life is nuts. This is weird. I told myself I wouldn't be nervous, but you always say don't be nervous, and it's just a geck. So
The central nervous system does not respond to logic, only instinct. But it's
that
okay.
makes sense.
It's okay. Its instincts will eventually catch up to the logic. It just takes a second. What's up, man?
Sure.
What's nuts?
Dude, I've been dealing with, I know you on your podcast recently have been dealing with a lot of like existential dread.
Sure.
And I have a pyrophobia. I don't know if you know what that is. It's a fear of eternity. And so I know you don't necessarily have like, you say that you're not really spiritual or really believe in a whole lot, but I'm a Christian, and so it's weird for me because it's like the idea of what's supposed to be my spiritual inheritance, is like the most terrifying thing to me. So it's something strange that I've been battling since I was like a kid. And I guess that's it.
Interesting. Okay. So tell me what you believe as a Christian is your spiritual inheritance.
Yeah. Well, I believe when I die, obviously, if you believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross and came back to life, and you, repentance is its own thing within that, but that you would be able to live in eternity forever with, Jesus and everyone else that did that. And so I guess for me, it's just like, it's weird. I'll be sitting there and I'll think of like, oh, well, it's 1 million years, you're there for 1 million years. And it's like, oh, well, it's not just that. You're there for 2 million and 3 million and 4 million and 5 million. And so it's like, I don't know if it's like a weird OCD thing, but I'll start snapping where I'll be like, oh, every snap is 1 billion years. And it will pull me into like almost full panic mode where I'm like my wife will be sitting there and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm freaking out, but it's weird. And then I've been smoking recently to try and kind of combat it, but it's sometimes made it worse, almost like more paranoid.
Right. How old are you?
I'm 23.
And you've had this fear for your whole life?
Yeah, I would say since I was around like the 10 to 12 age, like I want to say it was weird. Like I'd start thinking about it and it would like really mess me up as a kid. And I didn't really know what anxiety was or what, panic attacks were or anything like that. And then my stepbrother passed away. This is kind of messed up, but he committed suicide. And so I started getting panic attacks even worse then. And then it kind of came back in to that too. I feel like the idea of death really like encompassed everything that I was thinking. And I felt like I had to do things out of spite to, like everything, I feel like everything you do in life is like out of spite of your own death. And so it's coming. You're on the train no matter what. There's no way to get around it. And so it's weird because it's like I almost, the idea of me being able to die and there just be nothing for eternity, like I wouldn't be conscious. So that almost sounds more enjoyable than being conscious for eternity. And it messes me up because it's like, well, that's directly against my beliefs. So it's very strange, and it makes me feel like uneasy. It's like the same idea. There was some guy that I was listening to literally yesterday at work, that you were talking to, that had like the fear of planets and like the sun. Like he was he said he was a amateur
astronomer. Yeah. I remember that. That was like a year and a half ago. I remember talking to that guy. Yeah, he was afraid
so
of the moon.
So it's kind of, it's like the same idea of that. It's like just how crazily big like that number is, like with eternity or with other planets and stuff, because I get that same thing. Like my wife and I will go up, we live in Tucson, and there's like a big old mountain up here, and sometimes we'll drive up, and so it's the higher you go up, the less light pollution there is, and I literally, like, I'll get fearful, like I'm gonna fall off the edge of the earth. Like, it's weird. I feel like uneasy. It's weird, and it's been bothering me for weeks, and so I'll listen to your show, and there's people that are talking about like the existential dread thing, and I'm like, I have been dealing with that horribly.
So, well, tell me more about your beliefs. Like, do you? I mean this question genuinely. Like, do you have conviction in your beliefs?
Conviction? How so? Like if I do something wrong, I'm like,
Well, conviction in your beliefs in the sense of like you're talking about death as a cessation of any consciousness for all of eternity, versus your belief of Christianity being that your spiritual inheritance upon death is eternity with Jesus Christ in heaven.
Yeah. I guess it's just pretty, for me, it's just like pretty straightforward. I feel like one breath out, you're here on earth. Like, it's just, I don't know if this is what you're asking, but one breath out, I'm dead. And then the next breath in, I'm like, I see the gates, you know?
That's yeah. So that's your conviction.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out how I want to have this conversation with you, because I think it's good to well actually no, I'll ask you this. I think you're a smart guy. Like, do you ever, and I don't mean this, I swear on my life I don't mean this in a leading way. I genuinely again ask, do you ever question your beliefs?
So for me, the doubts come up a lot more with kind of what I'm battling in life. And so right now I'm battling, there's like a lot of pornography that I'm trying to get around. I grew up kind of not having a whole lot of confidence in myself, and so I viewed sex as like a I love you, I guess. Like if I got that with someone, then that meant that they loved me. And so recently it's like if I'm not doing so well, I definitely get the doubts of like, why am I doing this? What is this for? Or like right now I'm like at work. I have a good job, but it's not at all what I want to be doing. And I think that plays into the dread too, is like, I'm like, is eternity just going to be me doing things that I don't want to do forever and ever and ever? And so, I would say there's definitely those doubts that, you know, like what if it's bad? What if it's not all good? Because it says like, you know, God keeps his promises in the Bible, like everything is good. But for me, it's like a lot of my joy through life comes through, like battling and experience and growth and saying, hey, I'm better than I was, you know, a year ago, but that doesn't really happen in heaven. It's apparently supposed to be just like all good and all great. And I'm like, what the heck? How do I, you know, like, and it's always forever changing. It says it's never going to get boring. And I'm like, am I going to be able to play Skate 4? Like, I don't, you know, it's like,
yeah, no,
like
they definitely have, heaven is definitely full of Skate 4 setups for sure. That's absolutely
I hope
what they're
so.
doing up there. Positively.
Yeah.
Skate 4, they got Grand Theft Auto 7 up there. It's great.
Grand Theft Auto 7 before my death.
Interesting. So Well, okay, because one of the questions I was going to ask you is like, why? I mean, just the simple one of like, why are you afraid of eternity? And I guess one of the ways you're answering it is like, okay, so in eternity, if everything is always great and amazing, fucking awesome forever, and we live in utopia and there's heaven and everything is an orgasmic beam of eternal light and sunshine and harmony for all of eternity forever, and Jesus is there and he's jacked and everyone has $1 billion and whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? It's like, how is there measurable growth, right?
Yeah.
And that's what gives you happiness.
That's a big part. I feel like
that's really fucking beautiful. That's go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I feel like it's the idea of the sun shines brighter the harder it rains.
Yeah.
You know, like how it's so confusing in my head. One, just the idea of existing forever, but two, like how do I measure happiness without sadness? Because like I've seen I'd say some really bad stuff in my life. Like I was saying with my brother, and there's been a lot more traumatic things as I've grown up. But I feel like where I'm at now, like I just got married. I've been married for 3 months, and like it's like I've built this thing that like I have so much I don't know how to explain it. I built this thing from the ground up, and so I'm proud of the fact of where I've got to. And so it's like if I just enter heaven, it's like, oh, here's your house, here's your million Jesus dollars, here's your, you know, like I'm just kind of like, okay, but what do I have to do? You know, like what's my sense of purpose?
Yeah.
If I'm going to be there forever?
Well, I mean, yeah, dude, I got tons of thoughts about this. How did you... Were your parents Christians?
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy, actually. My family, like 2 or 3 generations up, actually were the earliest Mormon settlers in the U.S. So all of Utah, and I don't know if you know, like, I think it's called Bear Lake, was actually settled by his name is Charles Colson Rich. And so my family's Mormon coming all the way down the line. And then when it came to my mom said, screw this, and converted to Christianity. And so, yeah, it was like kind of since I was born, like I was dedicated at my church. And I'd say growing up, I kind of always went to church because that's just what my parents had me do. But then I dated some girl and was like, I want to kind of figure out my own life. And after she was pretty abusive to me for 3 years. And so after that, I'd say really like laid my life down to Christ. So that's been, I'd say 2 or 3 years. And like my wife now, I'm at a church, and it's been pretty good. It's just,
yeah,
I'd say like realistically, my actual beliefs only started about 2 or 3 years ago.
When did you start to believe, or I guess arrive at the conclusion that there is this definitive eternal life in heaven?
I'd say probably, geez, dude, I'd probably like in my teens somewhere. I'd say like 14 to 16. Did I really like? Because I was going to church with my family a lot, and they're always like, "You're gonna go to hell if if this doesn't work out, or if this doesn't work out. You need to, be this way and be, I guess it wasn't like be this way, but it's like, you got to believe in Christ and go to heaven." And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, that's like ultimate goal, right? And I'm like, what am I gonna enjoy about this ultimate goal? And I started really thinking into it, and it's like, it's weird because I was talking to pastors and stuff, and I tell them, and like, I felt like I was crazy because I'd be on Reddit, I'd be like looking up, why do I have a fear of eternity? And there's like a Reddit thread called Apeirophobia, and there's apparently a lot more people that have it.
What do people on that Reddit thread say? What like other people who are dealing with this, what do they have to say about it?
well, it's not just for Christianity, it's for everything. And so it's like some people have the fear of like, oh, when I'm dead, I'm gonna never be alive again. You know, I'm just gonna float off into the cosmos. But there's other people that do kind of have the same things for me. I actually read an entire research paper that this guy made for his college class. Mm-hmm. It was for like theology, but it was called like For and Against Eternal Life. And he basically explains like, you know, how God is as he is stated in the Bible, and basically what his fears were, and then what the pros and cons were of having eternal life. And so I read it and it like kind of helped, but it kind of didn't. And so it's weird. It's kind of just people saying the same thing. Sometimes people kind of get over it over time and they say, I beat this thing. And a lot of people are just saying, like, if it's within your beliefs, you have to believe that God is greater than like what these fears are being stirred up against.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it's like the idea of letting go and just like like nirvana, you know, like letting go and being in that state. So
and let me,
it's
sorry, go ahead. I want to let you finish before I cut in.
I was just gonna say it's weird, but you're good.
Well, let me say this for me to have this conversation with you is, I talk on the podcast a lot about like existential crises and thinking about death and thinking about eternity and thinking about the big questions, and really like, you know, I had a whole period of time for most of this year. I fucking feel great now. I feel the best I ever have, but for most of this year, I felt like I was in outer space, and I took my helmet off, and I had to be directly confronted with these like big questions. And I thought about like God, and I thought about these big questions of eternity and death and nothingness and whatnot. And I've become increasingly agnostic, because I think that God and the idea of like the idea of like submission, what you just said when you talked about like God's plan, you know, and submitting to God's plan and letting go. Whether or not I'm not a Christian, and I don't think I believe in any sort of like I don't think there's like a dude in a heaven necessarily. But again, I'm becoming further agnostic towards the idea of there being some kind of like unseen plane or dimension, or it could all just be, you know, I don't know. But anyway, God's plan, right? Okay. And this is, and by the way, if you're listening to this and you're like, what the fuck, I just don't, there's no God or whatever, it's like, it's not the point. It's not about a physical God. There is logically God's plan in the sense of the universe continues to march forward, not with any kind of like agentic plan made by a god, but it marches forward, and it's like you are on it, and it contains an unfathomable amount of uncertainty. And I think God and God's plan is an allegory for that uncertainty. Okay. And so there's something to be said about submitting yourself to that uncertainty, aka, in your case as a Christian, submitting yourself to God's plan. And I think there's something extremely peaceful about that. And I almost think that the crisis, also some people never have the crisis. They just never have it. I don't know how you live on this fucking planet and you never have the crisis, but some people never have it. You're blessed.
Yeah,
you're blessed enough, truly, to be endowed with the gift of the realization of the insane cosmic predicament that you're in. Yeah, and it's diabolically uncomfortable. It's diabolically uncomfortable. And when I was in it, I thought I was going to have to kill myself. I thought there was no return back to, eating a slice of pizza and talking about a movie I just saw. I thought there was no return. And I since feel very returned. I since feel even more at harmony with, the fucking matrix or whatever that we're living in, that we are uncertain about if, it's real. And I can speak on that as my personal experience, and I'll say that what people are saying in that subreddit about submission to God's plan, and again, people get all crazy about like religion and stuff, and it's like you don't have to believe in God to submit to God's plan if you believe God's plan is just an allegory for the uncertainty that we have about things in the universe, like consciousness and eternity, and where we, how we're able to do all the amazing fucking things that we do as conscious beings. But I think it's uncomfortable, but you kind of gradually learn to submit yourself to it. And there's a lot of love in realizing that you're in the same unfathomable cosmic predicament as every single other living thing and person around you. And you're all going to submit together as this collective consciousness. And it's kind of beautiful. And it's going to be whatever it is, and you're not alone. You're the universe experiencing itself, and you'll be okay. And then you can go, fucking watch a movie and jack off. I know you're trying to not jack off, but
Yeah, let's not do that. No, yeah. But I completely understand what you're saying. Like, I feel like whether or not you believe or not, you're still on this fucking train, man. You're still marching towards the end. And so for me,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but it's not about, I don't know if it's about belief. I think it's about submission.
Yeah, well, it's like whatever, like, yeah, I that makes sense. Like, whatever it is, you have to submit to the train.
Yes, you have to submit to the train.
The train is continually going forward, and then you're just, whenever you're done, whatever happens, it's like, okay, like you made it to the end of that train ride.
And there's also, sorry, go ahead. I want to let you talk.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, for me, it's like, it's kind of cool. Like, you and I both, in the general sense, have had the same, like you were saying, like I don't know how people get through life without having this happen to them.
Yeah.
But it's like, for you, that brought you to even more of going like, okay, well, I don't think there's any, like, God in heaven, type of a thing. It's just God is like the universe, which is nuts, because that's actually like directly what my brother believes. For me, it's pushed me more into it. And so
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's like gnarly, because it's like I'm more uncomfortable as I go on. But it's like, I do find that sense of peace of like, I'll watch a movie or whatever, and it's like I almost break the fourth wall in the movie, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's just an actor that's also going to die.
Yep. Yep.
And so it's like all of us, we're the entire generation that we are all living in. It's like, yep, in 150 years, we're all gone.
Yep.
There will be a complete new cycle of new people that will be on the earth.
Yep.
It's weird.
What's your name again?
Malachi.
I think you have I still have existential crises, and I'm not like I'm figuring this out with you as I'm trying to gain greater clarity on it. But I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and I think that there's because you know what it is part of is like there's a sense of like ego, I think, and I have tons of ego for sure, and I care a lot about like what I'm experiencing as my own life, especially when I'm not having esoteric conversations and I'm just going about my and I'm deeply entrenched in the fucking matrix in my day to day, which is 95% of the time. But there's something truly extremely peaceful, because I assume that's what your mind and body want, is peace. Because you're in such a deeply uncomfortable position. But I think you can find peace in like probably two things, which is one is deciding like on the ego side of the spectrum is like deciding what is going to give you meaning and progression in your own experience of your own life, which you talked about already, because you were like, that's what I like about my life. You're like, I built this thing with my wife. I'm building this career. Heaven sucks ass. It's like the game is on 100% completion. I want to play the fucking game. You're enjoying playing the game, so that's good. That's for real. That's where you find peace on the one part, and the ego part, and then on the flipping on the whole thing of like, oh, I have to at some point relinquish my ego and die. There's something extremely beautiful about coming to complete terms with the fact that the world you live in is unfathomably beyond you and bigger than you. And when you've come face to face with that, there's actually a lot of peace in there, I think. There's a lot of peace in there. I'm gonna just die, dude. And everything else, it's beyond me. I served my own purpose that I created within the framework of my ego by fucking loving my wife or raising kids or starting a podcast or playing tic-tac-toe or eating a sandwich or just living or just purely just existing is fine fucking too. And I served my own little the part of that I could control within like my ego state, and then outside of that, just everything beyond that is I fucking accept to be beyond me, and I submit to it, and there's peace in that. I think people want to. I don't get why everyone wants to be in control of things all the time. You're searching for control. You have control over. You have. I mean, this is when we start getting into like politics and economics and whatnot. Is in the ego part. Is like, how much control do I have over the part of the matrix that I live in, right? And that's when you get into the politics and economics and whatnot, and that's its own thing. And then everything beyond that, everything beyond that is you just have to submit yourself to, because it's not. It's just fucking beyond you. You have to submit yourself to it.
Well, that's like one of the biggest things that the Bible does teach too, is like being content with everything. And right now on earth, like at existence as a whole, like there's a verse and it says like we return as dust, like as we've been made, because we're just freaking dirt. We're part of the earth. Come out of the earth, go back into it. And so it's that totally makes sense. There's a peace that happens when you just say, screw it, I am a little tiny ant on earth. Mm-hmm. That nothing really matters, everything matters. Why not just like eat a freaking cheesesteak and watch TV with my wife? Like, why am I worrying about this?
You know, it's very funny and interesting to hear you say that your existential crises and realizations and questionings have brought you deeper into Christianity. It makes a lot of sense, especially when you're reading the book that says, like, you know, from dust to dust. Then you're like, that makes fucking sense. And it's probably why Christianity is still, I mean, it's like, I mean, how old, I guess, Christianity is technically 2025 years old, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think.
Okay. I mean, that's why it stood the test of time, is because it has this, like, framework of answers to great questions. It's been unfortunately, it's got a bad rap because it's been unfortunately co-opted into, like, for like lots of like horrible, stupid things that take it so deeply far away from, I think, the intentions.
And that's I know exactly what you're talking about, unfortunately, and that's the thing that sucks is that, like, for you, for instance, it's like if there was anyone else that was, you know, like that, they can't really have a conversation with other people. They're like, you have to believe in this, but like. My brother, for instance, he believes exactly what you're saying. You guys are, I would like to see that conversation. But it's like, shut up. Just let people be human. Like, there is literally a verse saying, don't have freaking stupid arguments. Like, if you're going to tell anyone about me, tell them peacefully and then leave them the hell alone. And it's like, that makes the most sense. Like, it's like, why am I going to, like, one of my best friends, I brought him to church last week. He came out as gay to me, but he was like, yeah, I want to go to church. I'm like, cool. Sick. I like brought him over. I was like, how is things? And he's like, good. He's like, I just want to check this out. I'm like, cool. Have a good night. You know, like why are you gonna, it sucks.
Right. Like the ethos of the thing is like a submission and it's like a fucking submission and acceptance of what is. And then to use it to like make people like feel bad about being gay is like is stupid.
Yeah, no, like I had a conversation with him. I was like, so with you going here, I was like, that doesn't change anything, I'm assuming. He's like, nope, absolutely not. He's like, I just wanted to check it out. And I'm like, cool, man. Like, it's not my place to tell anyone. And even more so, it's like, that's so stupid. In the Bible, it says multiple times, like, God is the only judge. Why the heck are you judging people? like it's just, and then you push them into the sense of existential threat.
Yeah. Again, no, I totally, I from having an existential crisis, I get why it brings you closer to God. But it brought me close to God. It just as an allegory. Like, it's a fucking allegory, you know? Like God, and I've always thought it was an allegory. I don't know what your belief is, but like, it's not a. I don't know if I believe in it as like a fairy tale. I don't know if there's like a unilateral force or like a higher being or like a god, like a, you know, a god. But God as an allegory for the answer. God is an allegory for the unknown and the you know, and it all it's funny because this conversation we're having, it sounds a little woo, but it's also really not. It's really like grounded in the acceptance of the unknown, which is like empirically unknown. And we don't even know if it can. Part of the the part of the unknown is it's unknown if the unknown can become known.
Yeah,
man.
No, it's
God.
I don't know.
I get where you're coming from, man. Because this conversation, it just really makes me want to fucking jerk off and watch a lot of porn and zone out. You know, I get you.
Yeah,
you're like, struggling with. Tell me more about the porn thing, if you want.
Oh
to.
Shit! Yeah. Oh God. Okay. Yeah. No. That's a loaded question. I don't know how much time we have, but
we have as much time as you have.
Okay. No, man. I grew up with a lot of really messed up things happening to me. I'd say, like, my parents, my dad was, gosh, I'm really gonna have to be careful of who I show this to if you end up posting it.
Hold on. I just want to let you know, because I am going to post this as a podcast. I'm going to post this as a podcast, and so like for real, you like if there's things that you don't want to share, you don't want to talk about, or you don't want to get too deep in, like don't feel like you have to, or we can just bullshit. It's totally whatever, as much or as little as you want to fucking talk about it as you want.
No, I'm down to talk. It's more so like I don't have a good relationship with my father, but I mean I'm not gonna like show him, hey, I was on the anyway, I'm good. My dad was like a crazy deadbeat drunk dad growing up, and so a lot of stuff slipped through the cracks when I was growing up, and like I've been like sexually touched a lot when I was growing up from like friends and crap. And then my dad, he like I remember vividly like watching him throw wine bottles across my kitchen into the bathroom at my mom and crap like that. And so over time, like I realized that I wasn't really getting a lot of love at all, and so I feel like I tried to search for that the best way that I knew how to, which growing up was sexually. Mm-hmm. And so I started like I want to say, because I lost my virginity when I was 15 I think I was in 8th grade. And so it was like from there, I was just kind of like, whatever says goes, like it doesn't matter. I'm just trying to find those one-off experiences over and over and over again. And so it was probably for like my 8th grade through like 3/4 of high school, I just kind of looked for sex wherever it was. And if someone wanted to do it, then I was like, okay, sure, I'm down. And it made me feel good about myself, and it made me feel like I was like loved and people actually liked me, and that I wasn't some like weirdo dude mm-hmm. that was just mm-hmm. hanging about. And mm-hmm. I think that really pulled into like pornography as well. And so it's like to this day, like I struggle pretty badly with like what I would say is temptation on it. And it's like something that my wife and I have been, we talk about, and, if I mess up, it sucks. And my wife and I go through like what I can do better next time. And I feel like regardless of, belief or whatever, I feel like it definitely, like pornography itself can have a very detrimental impact on your mind. Like it's like the idea of like Instagram and doom scrolling. You have a new source of material and content every 5 seconds, and it's like with pornography, you have a new source of what color hair and who and why, and it's just like you don't get.
I'm curious about this, and I completely 100%, and I think a lot of people, I only know it from the male side, but I assume both men and women, a lot of people, are like, can relate to you on the road of like constantly seeking like novel sexual experiences as a way to gain self-esteem. I mean, it's a huge classic. I'm curious though how that manifests itself in porn, because novel sexual experiences definitely give you that like short-term self-esteem boost, but I've never experienced porn doing that.
Yeah, I really don't know how to. I guess let me try to fathom and figure out like how. I don't know how to explain it. I guess like for me, I grew up like always kind of chubby, and I don't know why, but like growing up, I've had like my brother or people and friends tell me stuff, and so when my brother, I have 2 brothers, when my other brother ended up committing suicide, and like the idea of death really set in, and then the existentialism. So I think everything like ties into itself too. But it was like, I'm going to die. And it's like, what's the first thing that everyone's been telling me that like I can die about? And it's like, oh, well, if you're overweight, then, you're going to have a heart attack or whatever. And so it's like, I feel like the overweight side of it, it was like, if I'm watching porn, I don't have to, like be all sweaty and breathing hard over some person that I'm attracted to. It's like, I just get it's a little selfish. I just get the good parts of it, like the parts that make me feel good and
right.
The dopamine that releases,
Right.
but no one has to see me gross and naked, and that's cool, And so I guess for me growing up, it was like, it was like there was a sense of comfortability.
Oh yeah.
Within that, where it's like, no one knows that I'm doing this. I can do it whenever I want to, just feel a little better. And and it's like I was saying, like anything you want, it's there at like the flick of your fingertips. Online is crazy. You can look up anything and it's just there. And so, I guess that would be like the best way I can explain that, I'd say.
Yes. Well, I mean, yeah, it's everything that you want, and you don't have to involve another person in it, and it can just be quick and easy, and give you the same, keep the train of whatever it is you were searching for going, but easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So how do you what's your wife's take on it?
My wife, I mean, like I said, we're both Christians, so there's a very big idea of no sexual immorality. And so it's pretty gnarly. Like, I went from doing a lot of stuff with a lot of people to I went to church. I found my wife, and my wife was a virgin, and she told me, absolutely not. We're gonna get married and do things like the way that you're supposed to. And I said, okay, cool. That sounds good with me. So we went through our entire relationship. We were together for about 1.5 years before we got married. And then, everything happened. But along that ride of the 1.5 years, obviously, of abstaining through no sex and trying to do no porn, there was a lot of sucky conversations and things that would, hurt her a lot, obviously. I've tried to explain, I guess how I feel with it, and that it really doesn't have anything to do with her, but, dude, I honestly could just ask her and put her on the phone, and she could tell you herself.
We can leave her out of it, but
okay.
Can I ask you? I want to ask you another thing.
What's up?
Why do you believe that there is inherent immorality in sexuality?
I don't think there's an inherent in sexuality itself. I think sexuality is obviously a gift from God, but I do believe that the gift from God is for your person that you marry. And it makes things, logically, if you're thinking about just people as a whole. I grew up with, my dad and my mom, had sex before marriage, and then they ended up having my brother, which my brother's awesome, but it pulled them into, they felt coerced and forced to be in a marriage that really did not work out, and my dad ended up becoming very abusive and drunk, and
well, that's your parents felt coerced into a marriage by the fact that they reproduced.
Yeah, and so
wait, so but I'm asking about take reproduction out of it. You know what I mean? Where is the inherent? Where do you see immorality in? Because okay, well, actually, I'm curious about this, right? I know a lot of Christians try to they try to fucking like ban birth control or condoms or all that, and like why is that? Where is what's the logic behind that?
I would say that I have condoms and birth control itself. I don't have any direct. Personally, I don't have any beliefs on. I've used both, so I don't have any like negatives against that. I would say, like, I do have a particular idea, but like behind like abortion itself, but that's obviously political, and so I don't know how much conversation that we can have on that.
Well, listen. Well, let's talk about. I just sex. It's like why? Like, what's the immorality behind like just have like because I think like with Christianity, again, like as an allegory for attempting to face and understand and deal with the things that are unknown, makes a lot of sense to me. But I think that like there's certain things that are known, right? Which is that human beings where our brains are wired for us to just be crazy fuck machines and like have sex all the time and like be fuck like so like it's like so when someone like is out like having sex with a bunch of people, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense according to the empirical data that we have on just the human brain. You know what I mean? So like what is the I guess the philosophical opposition to that?
No, yeah. I would just say that very much is determined just off the belief itself. It's kind of like you either feel it's like two sides of a coin. You either feel like it's like why what's so wrong with me, doing this with this person and then going and doing this with this person, or it's like me where I feel like I went from that and then changed, halfway through and then said, no, I'm going to like try and practice celibacy and do that for my wife. And I would say, at least for me, from a personal sense, when I was going around and doing everything I was doing and being safe with it, obviously, but you lose a sense of sitting down with someone, I feel like, for a long time. And I mean, like, I know people in relationships are like, okay, well, we have sex before marriage, and that's cool. But I feel like the idea of marriage first really brings in, like, you are committed to this individual.
There's totally, yeah. I mean, I think that, if that's the way that you want to run it, I think it's totally legitimate. I think there's definitely something to that, for sure. I think there's definitely something to that. I don't know. This again,
it's a loaded one for me too, because I've been on both sides of it, and so it's like I only can explain personally how changing has made me feel significantly better about myself, and like I have my one person, I have my wife that is like awesome.
Well,
and so
this is the beauty of the world that we live in, and also a part of the thing. One thing I've been thinking about a lot lately is like, isn't it so fascinating that different lifestyles and different philosophies and different lifestyles and philosophies achieve different results in different people.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, you went from slutting it up around town to being a nice married Christian man, and it seems as though that is serving you, and that's great. And then look, there's probably fucking people who were became did the opposite, way
Yeah.
from you, right? And that's serving them. And that's actually one of the things that's one of the unknowns about life that I find truly fascinating is that we do live in this world where all of our consciousnesses are all wired differently and require different solutions and different philosophies and different ways of being to be compatible with them. I find that interesting. And I guess where things, I guess where people get pissed off at Christians is where, or where, honestly, not even Christians. I'm not even gonna say Christians. I don't want to say Christians. Or where people get pissed off at really anyone is where they attempt to espouse the philosophy or the ideology that worked for them to be the one true God. Like, the idea of the one true God is, I think, kind of douchey. Because there's no, if we have such different wirings in our consciousnesses such that, you can be in a polycule with 5 people and have a rockin' time, and you can also have, the one person that you is the only person you ever have sex with forever, and you have a rockin' time doing that. Can there really be a one true anything? You can only really stand humbly before. I don't know. I guess you can only really stand humbly before everyone and be like, "Hey, this is what I think and what worked for me," and then period. And then once you start being like, well, everyone should be polyamorous, or everyone should be wait until marriage to have sex, or everyone should be straight, or everyone should be this or that, is where you start pissing people off, because that's incompatible with the world we live in.
Yeah. Well, that's absolutely true. I feel like at least for me, with my beliefs, like I wouldn't even say I feel like I'm religious. I feel like a lot of religion, like you were saying, says to do things. I feel like what I believe in is I feel like someone's explained this to you before, but I just follow Jesus, man. I do I read the Bible and I hear what it says, and I try to do that as much as possible. But the idea behind that is that, at least in Romans, how it explains, you are going to want to do the things that your carnal nation, your flesh, and what, you were saying, we're fuck machines. We absolutely are. You're going to want to do what your body is just wanting to do. And if that makes you feel good, then, that makes you feel good and you're going to do it either way. I'm not here to tell you one way or the other, what you should be doing. What I am going to say is that, at least from my change and what I've felt, there is a crazy great sense of peace beyond what I've felt with anything else, that it's like mastering oneself. That's the idea of going into,
I get what you mean,
into your carnal nature and just freaking going at it.
Sure. I get what you mean. You're not a hedonist.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what that means.
A hedonist is okay, so you get off upon the idea that you possess this higher human consciousness that can wrangle and maintain and overcome and usurp the pleasures of the flesh that that your consciousness is a prison to in your physical human body. The temptations of fucking Laffy Taffy and marijuana and porn but you have this higher human consciousness that is attempting to break free from the flesh prison, and you believe that you can and you will overcome and usurp the cardinal pleasures or whatever.
Yeah,
a hedonist would say the opposite. A hedonist would go, actually, the cardinal desires is the one true God, and the cardinal desires are to be indulged and enjoyed, and that's our biology, our instincts are correct. My instincts are telling me to fuck as much as possible and to eat as much as possible and to do this and do that's what my biological instinct, what my body is fucking telling me to do. It's real. It's here. It's present. Its voices must be correct, and therefore I must indulge. And you know what? The hedonist and the hedonist and the Christian, they both die, never knowing if they both died, never knowing which one of them was right. I guess they both have some intuitive sense of how their lifestyle. They both have some intuitive sense whether or not They both have some intuitive sense of whether or not their lifestyle is working for them, and occasionally they have varying levels of being in tune with whether or not their lifestyle is working for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why the more I think about the world and life and shit, I just become more agnostic. Because there's so many people and so many variables, and it's all too complex, and so I submit to it, and I play Mario Kart, and I have a good time. What's your name? Malachi.
Yes, sir.
I hope you're doing okay, man. I know it's really uncomfortable to be thinking about all this stuff all the time. I hope you join the live. I want you to know something. I thought I was, and who knows what the future is like for me, but I've only felt great for like a little over a month. But the fact I thought I was never going to be able to live a life beyond that discomfort, and now at least for the past month, I have. And so I sincerely wish you a lot of hope and a lot of love in returning back to a version of your life where you don't feel in such great discomfort, and that you even feel grateful for the discomfort you went through.
I feel like I'm on the edge. I feel like I'm coming around it. Like I definitely, I've almost tried to dive into my fear to overcome it, if that makes sense. So I'm getting there. I'm getting to the idea of I'm going to do what I feel like in my beliefs and try to be the best person as possible. But also I am an ant. I also am just wanting to play Mario Kart and eat a frickin' bag of Doritos, dude. So,
well, whichever one you choose, I wish you good luck.
Thanks, Geck.
Is there anything else you want to say to the people at the computer before we go?
Everyone says they're not prepared for this, and I totally wasn't prepared for this. But
ain't nothing to prepare for. You don't have to. You can say no. You can say no.
Well, I feel like I want to say yes, but I want a shameless plug. I'm a photographer, but I hate doing that shit, man. Realistically, I hate being hey, this person, has people that could also see my stuff. But
you can do. I don't care. You can do whatever. You can do whatever you want. But I'm going to give you 15 seconds before I hang up on you.
Okay. Limitless.portraits. If you want to see some photos, I think that's cool. If not, I don't care. Geck bless you. Geck bless him.
Take care, Malachi. Later on.
Thanks, man.
Oh, jeez, dear God. Oh, man. Oh, jeez, Rick. That was cool. I liked that conversation. That was interesting. It's hard to have a podcast when you're agnostic. You have to fucking whatever. Even agnostic is a label. You know what I mean? If you're truly agnostic, you can't fucking be anything. It's hard because I feel like having a podcast requires you to be very not agnostic. Like the top podcasters in the world, they just say stuff. You know, there's no question. There's no eternal questioning. You just gotta say stuff. Maybe I should start doing that. Start saying things. I fully, absolutely believe that there is an afterlife where I can play Grand Theft Auto 7. No, I don't actually believe that. But if I'm lucky, I'll get to play Grand Theft Auto 6. And by the way, through everything, and you guys who listen to the podcast, you guys know this. Through everything, through all the existential whatever, through all the Matrix and the God's plan and blah blah blah, through everything, as long as I get to play Grand Theft Auto 6, I don't give a fuck. Through everything, none of it matters. Burn all the Bibles. I just want to play Grand Theft Auto 6. That's all that matters. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, what's your name, brother?
Hey, my name's Quincy. Dude, I can't believe I got on. I've called you so many times.
Quincy's a cool name. Quincy's like an old guy name, but you sound like a young guy.
I am. I'd like to think I'm still young. I'm 28, but, you know, getting up there.
Let's talk about that. I'm 27, and I'm realizing that you don't go back. We're only going forward. We're only marching towards whatever. And part of me I spent a long part of this year specifically being very terrified about that, but I'm coming to accept it. When I walk around, I've probably talked about this on the podcast a billion times already, but like walking around in New York is fun because you see a lot of old people and they're living their lives and doing things, and you know, it's like I'll see like a fucking, you know, guy in his 50s and he's, you know, he's out there, he's doing his thing, he's living his life. So it's
and hopefully that's gonna be you, dude.
I hope so, man. I'd love to make it to 80. If I could make it to 80, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
Dude, honestly, I don't know. I see so many people that get to up to that age, like 80. Honestly, mid to late 60s. It seems like that's when all the health stuff sets in. And honestly, if something could take me out before I hit health issues, that'd be sick.
Really? But what about I don't know. What about Mel Brooks? He's making Spaceballs 2. He's 90 something. He's hanging in there.
Yeah.
What about the fucking the Six Flags guy? I know he's not real, but he's based off an idea.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
What were you gonna say just now?
Oh, I was just gonna say, is that guy in good health? Mel Brooks, is he in good health making this movie?
Oh, he's in good enough health, I guess.
I guess. I just don't want to, life can be difficult at a young age, mentally difficult. Hopefully by the time I hit that age, I've pushed past all the mentally difficult things, but then I feel like it's a slap in the face. You push past the mental things and then life just smacks you with physical.
It's true. Yes, you can never escape conflict of any kind. You will always be pushing some sort of boulder up a hill.
Yeah, sadly. I mean,
not
not
sadly. Well, I mean, theoretically, not sadly. If you're a fucking monk or whatever, you know the myth of Sisyphus. We've talked about it on the podcast before.
Yeah. Of that's basically his punishment is just always pushing that boulder uphill.
He's always pushing a boulder up a hill, right? He's always pushing the Sisyphus. He did something to some guy, and the thing guy made him push a boulder up a hill. And now, I mean, I guess that's life. Is you're constantly forced to push a boulder up a hill in some way, no matter who you are, because you're a slave to the drudgery of the passage of time. But because you're pushed, but you gotta imagine that Sisyphus is happily engaging in the task of pushing the boulder up the hill. I only bring this up because I posted some clip about I don't know if people remember the firefighter who called in and talked about how he
The volunteer firefighter
talked about how he lives life out of existential spite, where he said he feels like Charlie Brown, because Charlie Brown is always having optimism and then having his optimism defeated, and then having optimism again, and he's stuck in that cycle. I posted a clip. Somebody on YouTube Shorts commented saying, "One must imagine Charlie Brown as happy," as a reference to one must imagine Sisyphus is happy. And I thought that was really funny. Anyway, Quincy. What's up, man? Is there something you called in to want to talk about?
Honestly, dude, I've called in so many times. There's so many things that I'd like to talk about with you, but like, I think I just want to talk about what's going on today.
Please.
Like, I'm sitting at home. I'm actually, tonight, I'm like hosting for like, I don't know, 10 to 15 people. Ooh. And I've never hosted a single thing in my life. And like, I don't know what it is. I don't like having people inside of my house. Like, it's like my bubble. You know what I mean? So like, inviting people inside of my home feels like this huge thing.
Why are you doing it?
Okay. Why am I doing it? Because, so not that long ago, me and my old lady met another couple that like, they always invite us over to go do stuff. Like, they always host stuff at their house. They always like to like invite us to go do stuff. So I kind of feel like I need to, in some sense, put effort into, you know, this friendship that we have by inviting them into my home and, you know, taking my turn hosting.
But it's fifth. Why? But you're not having like a couple over for dinner. You know, you're doing like a fucking 15-person party.
Well, yeah. See, I have this issue with like, I can't do anything. Like, I can't just like dip my toe into like, we'll invite these people over, see how that goes. I have to do like we'll invite a bunch of people over, and then I'm gonna be stressed out all night. But it'll be fine because I know like once I do it, it'll be okay. But like, it's just getting to that point of actually doing it.
And what are you stressed out about?
I don't know, dude. There's gonna be like people in my house, and like, maybe they might let my cats out. Maybe they might judge the way that I live.
Well, fuck them if they judge the way that you live. Well, do you like these people that you're having in your house?
Yeah, absolutely do.
So why? So then, why don't you enjoy having them over?
I feel like I'm going to when it's actually happening,
sure.
But the moments leading up until, you know, you have too much time to like think about stuff.
Sure. I don't understand. This makes no sense. You're having a party with a bunch of your friends. You should be excited.
Well, I don't want to make it sound like I'm not, because I am, but at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know. I guess I'm not always like the center of attention, and I feel like being that it's at my house, I have to like do the whole song and dance of like entertaining and stuff.
How's your wife feel about it?
I think she is fine with it, honestly. I don't think she cares much.
Okay. Well, what kind of food are you gonna have for these people?
I'm you know, doing the good old USA cookout, having, you know, hot dogs, hamburgers.
Oh, so you're keeping everyone outside. This is an outside ordeal.
Well, that was kind of the plan. But
do you have a lawn? Do you have a lawn? Do you have a yard or a lawn or something?
Yeah, I have like a small like back pat. Like it's not small. I have a back patio that's got like a backyard and stuff. So
can you fit 15 people in that back patio?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, then here's what you do. Here's what you do. Don't fucking let anyone inside the house. Can you get people to the yard without having to go through the house?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. Don't let anyone inside the house. Okay, if they have to use the bathroom, then sure. If they have to use the bathroom, but you guide people to the backyard, and then you focus only on the yard, because right now you're stressed out about, are they gonna let the cats out? Are they gonna judge the crap I have on my walls? But you gotta maintain the sanctity of your home by not letting these people in it. You just focus on the yard. It'll take all your stress. Right now, your stress is permeating throughout the whole house. You only need to be stressed out about the yard.
That makes sense.
Makes sense.
You know what? It does make sense. But so it was going to be a nice day, but then, that kind of changed. So now it's a little damp outside. You know what I mean?
How damp we talking?
Right now it's not raining, but they are talking about thunderstorms.
They're talking about thunderstorms?
Yeah. Does that mean I should cancel?
I think you should. Well I think that.
Or should I let these people in my house?
I think that, in combination with the fact that you really don't want to do it, means you should cancel. I think that, in combination with the fact that you're severely dreading this event, could be a good reason to cancel. Yeah. What? So you're gonna have everyone inside your fucking house while it's thunderstorming out?
I mean, if it comes, what do I do? Just be like, yeah, sorry guys, like. You either enjoy getting wet and eating food out, some soggy ass food outside.
Bro, hold on. Just cancel the party. If it's raining, you don't want to do it. What are you doing? Why do you just cancel the party? I got a fucking I was gonna go to some party someone canceled the other week. It was fine. Nothing bad happened. I forgot about it.
How last minute cancellation was it though?
It was maybe 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, see, this is like, a couple, like 2 hours.
Wait, this is happening in 2 hours?
Oh yeah, this is going down, Gecko. It's
15 people, 2 hours. Yeah, okay. I guess you can't really cancel it. I mean, you can. You can do whatever you want. You know that, right? It's complete. There's no.
That's a good point.
No one no one cares about you enough for your actions to matter in any real, genuine way, shape, or form. And you could say that about kind of anyone.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Maybe. Not really. I don't know. I just said that. I believe it a little bit. You could probably be I don't know. That's just nihilism talking, but it's a little true. Quincy. What's the food situation? Pizza? You cooking? Are you cooking?
Oh, I'm cooking.
What the fuck
cooking.
Are you cooking for 15 people? You really made this so much harder for yourself than it had to be.
Well, I like to just torture myself a little bit at a time. You know what I mean?
I thought you were gonna say you like to cook, in which case I'd be like, that's wonderful. But the other part is not.
I do, but I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I have anxiety about it, but I have always kind of wanted to be like that guy that's like, oh, come on in, come on over, and we'll do stuff, hang out, have a big fire, have a cookout. But I just never. I also don't.
Yeah, but you're not. Yeah, but you're not that guy.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Lyle.
Yes.
Do you think that exposure therapy is good or bad? Because that's kind of how I view it.
I think it's good. Don't listen to me. I think it's good. I think you should have your party. I think you should have your party, and I think it'll be fine, and you'll have a fun time, and then you'll be like, all right, cool. Maybe we'll do that again. It's no reason to be stressed.
Well, hopefully, maybe something wild happens. Who knows? But we'll think positive thoughts on this one.
Quincy, is there anything else you want to say to the people of the computer before we go?
Geck bless you guys. Honestly, this made my whole day. Whether I cancel it or I have it, just being able to talk to you is sweet, dude.
Hey, let me know next time you're having it. I want to come. Wait, where do you live? You don't have to give me your address or anything. You're in Pennsylvania.
You want it? Yeah, you want my social too?
What part of Pennsylvania are you in?
South. I'm outside of Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay. All right. No, I'm never gonna come to your house ever.
Why, dude? You don't like Pittsburgh?
Sorry. No, that's. I don't like when people say that. I don't like. There's nothing. I love Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's awesome, but I'm not gonna go there to go to your house.
Well, that's a fair enough point. Well, Geck, I appreciate you taking my phone call.
Thank you, Quincy. Quincy, I hope you have a good party. Don't stress yourself out. It'll be a good time.
I'll do my best.
Beautiful. Wait, what are you cooking? You never said what you were cooking.
Oh, I told you I was doing like hot dogs, hamburgers. I made some kebabs, like these.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, you did tell me that. Yeah. You got a barbecue. Wait, this is gonna be awesome. Wait, actually, I might come to Pittsburgh to come to your house. I can't make it in 2 hours though. But if you have another one, maybe I'll do
I mean, if I'll shoot you a DM a couple weeks. I'll give you like a month's notice next time.
Okay.
That or like if I see you're playing, like if you're gonna be doing a show, like I'll just hit you up. Beautiful. Maybe the next day. How fast? Hold on, before we go. How fast do you move city to city?
How fast do I move city to city?
Yeah, like when you're out doing shows. Like,
it kind of depends. It's just it always depends. There's no real set time. I think when I first started, I wanted to spend more time in each city, and now I'm enjoying being at home a little bit more.
I get that.
Bye, Quincy. Have a good time at your party.
Thanks, Geck.
I wonder what kind of desserts he's gonna have.
From Ariana.
Hello?
Hello, is this the Geck?
Yes, who is this?
Oh, snap. This is Jeriana.
Jeriana?
Yeah.
What's up, Jeriana? How's it going?
Hey, man. The weekend, just catching up on chores, boring shit like that. By the way, I like I love all the conversations on here, but the one about, religion and marriage, and I just kind of wanted to follow up on that because it's just so important to our society nowadays. Love,
Sure.
We need more.
Which
is a corny ass thing to say now, but it's well, yeah, we do need it.
What was your take on that conversation?
Well, the caller seemed like a really sweet guy, and he was kind of wasn't he kind of talking about monogamy and how he's kind of like a born again Christian or something?
I don't know if he was a born again Christian, but a little bit, yeah.
Okay. So I really believe in commitment to the person you love, and at the same time, two things can be true at the same time. Just monogamy is just way too toxic. And no, I don't believe in polyamory, even though it works for other people too, but which is fine, But the modern day philosopher, because, states of love and being, that's all the school of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're talking about life, being, love, shit like that. Have you ever heard of the modern day philosopher Alain de Botton?
No, I thought you were just talking about. No, I haven't. Who are they?
Oh, I know I'm kind of all over the place right
now. No, that's okay.
But well, he actually founded this university that's in several countries. I think there's one in Canada too, but it's literally called the School of Life, and he talks about, when it comes to religion, we need to start cherry picking the good things from it.
Yeah.
And so I'll get back to my whole point I was going to get to about monogamy being toxic and stuff like that. But cherry picking religion, because what I found fascinating during COVID is I defaulted to practices in Islam without knowing it. And then when I realized, I was like, oh shit, you know, I'm definitely not Muslim, but this is very Muslim.
How did you accidentally become Islamic?
Man, it's so cool. Like you know, we're all stuck in our damn living quarters, and we're like scrambling for things to keep us entertained, you know, things to do, and we need a routine. Where's the routine, right? And I was like, okay, I need to find a routine to be sane because I'm going insane. We're all going insane. And so I'm like, okay, first thing when I wake up in the morning, I'm just going to stretch. I'm going to stretch. Then the day starts passing. You're like, shit, I'm still like cooped up here. What the hell else? You know, you find something to do, this or that. And then you're like, and then you get into meditating a little bit here and there. And then I'm like, you know what? I need to stretch again. Throughout the day, I found myself like doing the yoga pose. I think it's called like the something cat pose, or or like, do you know yoga poses? Do you know any of the names?
Sure.
Okay, so picture yourself, you're on a yoga mat, and you're sitting there, and then you curl over your knees with your arms stretched out, but your legs are curled under you, okay? That stretch. And then, like, have you ever done yoga?
I've done yoga a couple times, yeah.
Damn it, I wish I knew the name. Anyways, so, and then, like, my cat passed away a while back, tragically, for all these reasons. And so I was, like, doing my yoga stretches in front of my little shrine to my cat. And then I'm like, I'm in front of my fucking shrine for my freaking cat. Let me pray. Let me just, like, pray to my cat, who's, like, my heart, who's my freaking goddess. Like, that's my goddess. Like, that's the love.
Why did you say that monogamy is toxic? I'm curious what your philosophy is on that.
Well, I'm going to get back to that, but I just want to say about how I got into, like, the practices of Islam.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah,
you know what? I kind of lost the thread of our conversation in my head.
And that's okay, because I'm talking about doing yoga to the shrine of my cat.
Okay, I forgot. Yeah, we're talking about how you became Islamic. Okay.
Yeah. So I promise I'm going to tie it back.
No, it's okay.
So I'm like, while I'm doing yoga throughout the day and finding things to do, I start to pray after I do my little yoga cat stretch pose. And I do that like 5 times throughout the day. Early in the morning when I wake up at 5 a.m., stretch, pray, a couple other times throughout the day. And by the time the end of the day, I do my stretch and pray like 5-6 times. And that is actually the amount of times that Muslims pray.
Yeah.
It's either 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I was like, oh, I'm just, all of a sudden I'm praying throughout the day to my cat, my cat's shrine. And I'm like, this seems like, wait, don't Muslims pray throughout the day too? And I was like, how many times do they pray? And it was the exact amount of time. Yeah. And I was like, that's crazy. But that really grounded me. It centered me. And, you know, from that chaos of the pandemic, from their religion, you know, obviously I'm not Muslim. I was raised in like a Christian type of Methodist thing, which is still, I'm not even that. But, you know, and anyways, that philosopher guy is talking about Adam de Botton, when he was talking about, you know, states of being and religion, and he was like, you know, religion has a lot of great things in it that help us with the complexities of being human, you know, like if, and so anyways, he said, cherry pick the good things. And so I love that about Islam, even though I don't believe in everything else that I don't understand about.
Well,
but
yeah. That's you accidentally practiced Islam, I guess.
Yeah. And so going back to how I find like monogamy toxic is that, like, even though the practice of committing yourself to someone is beautiful and needed, because I feel like love equals trust and respect. I mean, without that, what do you have? You know, if you don't trust the person, how can you really love them? If you don't respect them, how can you really love them? You got to have those two things. And so, So, anyways, what was I saying about? Monogamy being toxic. So, even though committing yourself to someone is really important, it's just when you have children, you need to have more of a tribe than just one woman, like, raising all these kids.
Sure, it takes a village. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a village. And the thing is about modern day society is obviously the village is not right down the street. You got to drive here and there. And then so you have kids growing up in these nuclear households that so many of us have experienced without the grandparent down the street. And thank God, some of us lucked out and did have those family members down the street, which is great. But it's like becoming more and more rare. And like with that, mental health, obviously nowadays we're seeing with the pinnacle of narcissism of Trump, is so important. And we don't have any policies to keep these narcissist people out. And anyway, so you have kids being raised by just one person not getting the eye contact that they need to have a healthy core self.
Sure.
And I think like a lot of us, we read up on narcissism and things because it's just so bad nowadays, which is an understatement. And it talks about to have a healthy human psyche. Yeah, you need that attunement.
I'm with you.
And
I agree. I agree with the sentiment that I think. Sorry, I think I'm losing conversational steam. I think you know what it is. Every
right?
Every podcast I have the energy for one really good conversation that I put at the beginning of the episode.
And that's
what I do. That's how I've began to format this podcast. Is every time I go to stream and I do a podcast, I have the energy for one really good conversation, and I put at the beginning, and then at the end I'm like, and then I start to lose steam. But I'm trying to keep.
Well, I totally get it because I'm in healthcare, and I happen to provide dental hygiene, and I have all these patients throughout the day, and by the end of the day, they're talking about this, that, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, the caffeine is wearing off. I heard you. I care, but yeah.
What's your name again?
My quote unquote name is Jeriana.
Miriana?
Like Tom and Jerry, Jeriana.
Oh, Jeriana. Well, listen, Jeriana, thank you for providing a alternative. I get what you mean in terms of I don't know. Well, here's the thing is we're about to. There's lots of people probably in polycules who are raising children that way, and so in our lifetimes we'll get to find it's bad. I thought you said it was good.
Wait, you said I don't know what you said. I thought you said like there's lots of people in capsules of like raising children like that, like in a monogamous way.
Polycules.
Oh, like the polyamorous lifestyle.
Yeah, but we'll see how those people turn out. Maybe they're amazing. Maybe they're awesome.
Well, the problem with the poly lifestyle is that they should be. I think they should be more like with again going back to cherry picking good things out of religion, right? Like I like the commitment with Christianity, but with Islam, you can also have several wives. And I happen to be like bisexual, and I don't understand how women are like, oh yeah, I'm just going to be with this man forever. That's it. Like, but also I don't want to be going out to different people having sexual romantic connections. Like I want to have one good, I want to have one good Betty
Sure.
This is my ride or die wife.
Sure.
And then also we have our husband. And like, why not fucking do that?
Nice.
Like,
That could be
everyone
nice.
stop going
That sounds
insane
nice.
with one person.
That
Stop
sounds
it.
Nice. That sounds nice. That sounds nice.
But Geck, I know
yes.
that I'll let you go. I'm glad we got to chat, and I just want to get that out there about love. So
Thank you.
thanks for having me on the show.
Of course, thank you. And next time you pray to your cat, put in a good word for me too, in case if your cat does end up being, just in case if your cat does end up being the one true God, I want some favor with them.
All right, man, I will.
All right, later, Mom. Have a. I'm sorry. What did you say your name was again? It starts with a J.
Jeriana.
Jeriana. Have a good one, Jeriana.
You too, Geck.
Bye, Jeriana.
Later.
Well, folks, that was it. We did a Therapy Gecko podcast. We talked a lot about life. We learned a lot of stuff. Hop in those Spotify comments or those Apple podcast reviews or those YouTube comments. I want to know what people thought about these conversations. We had some pretty dense conversations on this episode. I want to know what the people thought. I hope people understood what we were trying to say. And if not, that's okay too, because it's fine. Thank you guys very much for listening. Thank you for being here. Thanks for continuing to indulge me as I do this podcast and continuing to indulge the people that call in. This is fun. I feel very honored to get to wax philosophy with strangers. And thanks for listening.
Therapy Gecko's on the line, taking your phone calls every night. Therapy Gecko's doing it right, he's teaching you how to live your life, but he's not